There are certain moments in MMA when a fighter goes from being a promising prospect to someone you suddenly have to take very seriously. And I think Quillan Salkilld just had that moment, because at UFC Vegas 120, Salkilld was given one of the biggest tests of his young career. He was thrown into the deep end against Mateusz Gamrot, a longtime lightweight contender and an elite grappler and one of the most difficult fighters in the division to deal with. And instead of simply surviving, instead of edging out a decision, Salkilld went out there and completely shocked the MMA world. He stopped Gamrot in the first round, and he did it by submission. Think about that for a second. Gamrot is one of the best grapplers in the UFC's lightweight division, and Salkilld basically said, okay, let's grapple. And then he made him tap. Now Salkilld is 26 years old, 13 wins and 1 loss, professionally 6-0 in the UFC, and he has finished his last 4 opponents. So today I want to explain why I believe Quillan Salkilld isn't just going to be a contender in this division. I think this man has the potential to become a lightweight champion.
Let's look at the longest active UFC finishing streaks. Quillan Salkilld has 4, just under Walter Walker, who has 5. Then we got Manel Kape and Yoel Smetic tied with Quillan. But Quillan, all in the first round. Wow, what we just witnessed. No one saw that coming. Alan, thoughts?
I mean, highly impressive. I mean, we all sat here saying Gamrot's going to get at least 6 takedowns. What will happen later in the deep waters? It only took 1 round. Quillan Salkilld went out there, not only won the fight, won in the first round, but as he out-Gamrotted Gamrot, right? He was able to take him down, stuff the takedown, escape a leg lock, and submit somebody who's only been submitted once in their career, and that was to one of the best submission artists in the game, Charles Oliveira.
First thing that stands out about Salkilld isn't even his technique. It's his mentality, honestly speaking, because there are plenty of young fighters who want to climb the rankings carefully. They want the right opponent. They want someone stylistically favorable, especially early in their career. They want to build their record, which makes sense, right? But Salkilld appears to have a different mentality. He wants the difficult fights. And Mateusz Gamrot was exactly that.
I called for it after my last fight, and yeah, I'm glad that they gave it. You know, he's a super tough fighter. I know he's no picnic for anyone, and that's exactly why I wanted the fight. You know, I'm not looking to cherry pick my way to the top of the division. I want hard fights. I want someone that's going to put a lot of respect to my name when I win against him. I've been watching him fight for a long time, and he's someone who's always respected, and I've been wanting to fight him for ages. Always someone I've envisioned fighting ever since, you know, like coming up through the pro ranks. So he's always someone I've always pictured on fighting, and a fun test to go up against. So that's exactly why I called him out, and the timing was right, because at the time there was a few other lightweights that already matched up, and he was coming off a win a few weeks before that. So it was like at the time it was just, it just made sense to me as well, and yeah, and he's tough, and I'm not going to call out anyone I think is going to be easy. Yep. That'd make me a pussy. So I want to call out the hard fights.
Yeah, Gamrot is one of the best leg lock specialists I've ever trained with. Those guys in Poland are really good at leg locks, and when they went to that position, I was confident he'd find something, maybe get a sweep with it. But hats off to Salkilld, man. That's no easy task what he just did. Gamrot's jiu-jitsu is very high level, and congratulations, man. Ask and you shall receive. He asked for a big name. He got it. Next week, he'll be top 10.
Gamrot isn't some random veteran, all right? This is a fighter who has spent years competing against some of the best lightweights in the world. He's seen all different types of styles. His game is built around pressure, wrestling, chain wrestling, takedown, scrambling, and controlling opponents. So when Salkilld had the opportunity to step up against him, he didn't run from the challenge. In fact, he called for it. He asked for this fight. And that's really important when you look at this guy. Because if you're trying to become a UFC champion, eventually you have to fight people who are going to test every single part of your game. Especially if you want to have a long career. You can't become a champion by only fighting people you're comfortable fighting. That's not how it works. And Salkilld just showed us something incredibly important. He doesn't need the fight to go his way stylistically to win. Gamrot wanted to take this fight into his world. Obviously, that's what everyone thought would happen, but Salkild went there with him and won.
I love how Alan put it. He out-Gamroted Gamrot. This was why he wanted this fight. He wanted to prove to himself and to prove to others that he could win a fight like this.
Well, I just think that the kid proved tonight that he is a full mixed martial artist. You know, so much has been made about his striking, and justifiably so, when he has done what he was doing. But to go out there tonight and do what he just did, when we have seen Mateusz Gamrot fight so many guys and beat so many guys, to take him down, choke him out in the first round, that was the one result I did not expect at all. I thought he could win a decision. I thought he could win by knockout. But to think he would win by submission, that's absolutely crazy. I am stunned at how good Quillan Salkilld really is.
This might be the biggest reason I'm buying the Salkild hype. He passed the fraud check test. Gamrot's biggest strength is grappling, and Salkild didn't just defend it, he neutralized it. That's crazy when you actually think about it. Gamrot has only been forced to tap twice in his entire professional career, and Salkild just became the second man to do it. That's the type of performance that changes how people look at a fighter, because now opponent can't simply just say, we'll just wrestle him. You better think twice, because this man has showed he's well-rounded. If you shoot on him, he can defend. If you get him down, he can scramble. If you stay on the feet, he can absolutely strike. He proved that already. And if you make a mistake on the ground, he can actually finish you. That's the nightmare scenario when you're trying to prepare for somebody, because the best fighters are usually specialists, right? Good at one trait and they focus on it. You know what they're going to try to do. With Salkild, it doesn't appear to be one obvious area where you can simply exploit him. And that brings me to the next reason why I think he can become a UFC champion.
I would have bet $1 million this kid wouldn't have got a takedown on Gamrot. I would have lost $1 million.
Yeah.
That's why we love this, man. But I hope Gamrot keeps his head up, and I can't wait to see what's next for Salkild, man. I would love to see if he's going to be in the top 10, which he will be, probably 9 or 8.
Yeah.
Maybe he takes Gamrot's spot. Who's available ahead of him? BSD?
Yeah.
That's a fun fight.
Great fight.
I would love to see that.
You know, one thing that I said yesterday that we could not sleep on is that Australian style of jiu-jitsu. And I think that's what we saw tonight. I mean, he defended them leg locks beautifully. He was able to reverse position, able to stay off his back and just kind of maneuver around Gamrot. That Australian style of jiu-jitsu, man, is something that we kind of disregarded. We never really seen it in full display inside the UFC.
Now, if you've only watched Salkild's fight against Gamrot, you might think, okay, he's a grappler. But that's not the complete picture. We've already seen him demonstrate serious striking abilities. Look at his performance against Nasrat Haqparast. I mean, that was scary to watch. That's where you start seeing the bigger picture. He's not just looking to wrestle. He's capable of standing with experienced strikers, and that's incredibly important at 155 pounds. Because lightweight is arguably one of the most talented packed divisions in MMA. You've got elite wrestlers, you've got elite kickboxers, you've got submission specialists, explosive athletes, veterans with incredibly high fight IQ, and then you have fighters who combine all of those things. To become champion, you need to be able to solve multiple problems, and Salkild is showing that he can do that.
He did the same thing to to Mateusz Gamrot that he's done to everybody else. He finished him in the first round. That's now 4 straight first-round finishes. He didn't have a call-out ready up there, which actually kind of surprised me a bit. Couple of names, BSD would be one of the guys. Maybe Charles Oliveira, somewhat of a stretch, but I don't know at this point. Is anybody a stretch for Quillan Salkilld?
Well, I just think that you got to start to move him up and move him into the really elite of the division, because you got to start positioning this kid for an opportunity to maybe fight for a championship. It is that important, because when you beat Mateusz Gamrot in the way that he did, you get something big next that propels you. I'm not saying #1 contender, because there are great guys in this division that still maybe deserve an opportunity. But he needs to see a former champion. He needs to see somebody in the top 5. And when you if he can beat one of those guys, then the title shot becomes real. And to have an Australian, you know how it happens when guys have an entire country behind them. Salkilld has this country on fire right now. And they have a great reason. They got a real contender in this kid, because he showed no weaknesses He showed no weaknesses in
incredible.
there. It was incredible. It was a no-hitter. He pitched a no-hitter.
It's a great way to put it. 3 of his first 5 UFC fights took place in Australia, 2 in Sydney, 1 in Perth. He returns to the apex for the first time since his Contender Series win.
When I was in Perth, the ovation this kid got was insane.
Massive pop.
Another interesting thing I have to talk about is the fact that he's only 26. That means we're potentially watching a fighter who hasn't even reached his physical and technical prime yet.
You're 26. You came into the UFC 1 year ago. You're about to be into the top 10. You just beat one of the best grapplers in the UFC.
Just won a main event.
Main event first time, and you looked at that performance. Like, where do you think you're at in your career? You know, we sometimes can gauge, you know, I'm still getting better. I'm still getting stronger. I'm still learning a new technique. Where do you gauge yourself in your career? How much more there is to go?
I don't know. I don't even think about that. I just think about
You're not even in your prime yet.
Yeah, not even in my prime yet. So I know. I'm just thinking about, you know, what's next, and you know, well, not even that right now. Right now, I'm just thinking about going back, you know, celebrating with my team and having a good time, and then going back home, get back in the gym, and then we see what's you know, whose door we knock on next.
It's going to be big, whatever it is. It's going to be big.
There are still areas where he can improve for sure. His striking can be more polished. His defensive wrestling can get even better. His fight IQ can absolutely develop at this age. His experience against elite competition is going to continue growing, in my opinion. And that's what makes his trajectory so interesting. Imagine the fighter we're watching right now, right? Imagine that, but with another 3 or 4 years of UFC level experience. That's potentially terrifying for the division, because champions aren't always the most talented fighters when they enter the UFC right away. Sometimes the difference is development. A fighter enters the organization with incredible potential and then gradually puts everything together. Salkilld appears to be doing that very quickly.
It's like, I'm not gonna, you know, shy away from the wrestling, because that takes away like a tool in my, or it takes away a weapon in my arsenal. Whereas if I was just to, you know, like jab and move back, he's allowed to strike and wrestle, where I can just strike. Like, that's not a fair fight. You know, I'm going to wrestle as well. I'm going to strike. I'm going to do, you know, everything. I'm going to attack, you know, any way I can to get the job done.
Was this your most impressive performance in your career?
Hell yeah, because it's against Gamrot. So yeah, he's someone I've, you know, had a lot of respect for a very long time, watching him, you know, fight. I remember watching, you know, him versus Armin live and thinking, fuck, he's the real deal. And, you know, he's always someone I wanted to fight eventually.
There's another factor that I don't think people should overlook. Salkilld is big for the lightweight division, and size matters, especially at 155 pounds. When you combine physical size with technical ability, things get very difficult for your opponents. You're dealing with someone who can potentially have advantages in range, strength, and leverage. And if that fighter also has a dangerous grappling game, good luck, because now you aren't just trying to avoid getting outstruck, you're trying to prevent him from getting his hands on you. And if you're trying to avoid getting trapped in scrambles, and you're trying to survive his submissions, and you're trying to deal with his striking, that's just a lot of problems to solve. It just is. And championship level fighters need to create exactly those type of problems.
Congratulations. I mean, what you did tonight was just, you had us all stunned here. I think the world is stunned right now. Did you expect this?
I didn't exactly expect it, but not surprised also. You know, I believe in my ability and my skill set to do so, and tonight was just about, you know, proving it to everybody else.
Man, I think beginning of that fight, that short little hook you threw with Gamrot was rushing in, laid out the next steps. The low single, you took his back, rode perfectly, because he was kind of escaping out the back door. You rode him, being long, being strong, great technique, man. I'm just excited. You're going to be in the top 10 next week.
Hell yeah, that's.
And I want to see a huge fight for you, man.
What do you do with a guy like this? You can't keep feeding him prospects. He's already proven he's beyond that level, but you also don't want to rush him into a title fight before he's fully ready. So I think the next fight is extremely important. Salkilld has already called for Benoit Saint-Denis, and honestly, I love that fight.
BSD, I think, would be a fun matchup.
Hell yeah, I agree 100%. This is the next step, you know, top 15, now top 10, and now we get into those, you know, very high-profile matchups.
Yeah, a lot of fun matchups for you.
Hell yeah.
I want to just piggyback on that. I do have some questions for you, but while we're talking matchups, and you've had a little bit of time now since the fight, a couple of minutes, Is there a name? Is it Benoit Saint-Denis a guy, or is there someone
Yeah, 100%.
else?
He's someone I've had my eyes on for a bit, and you know, yeah, all those guys in the top 5. I don't really care as long as it, you know, moves me up the ladder and towards that that title shot eventually. I'm down for whoever.
I want to ask you about this call out. Gamrot is not someone that many people want to call out.
No.
Better grapplers in their
Exactly.
division.
That's why I did it. You know, he's a tough matchup, and you know, I'm not going to call out any easy fights. I want someone that's, you know, going to be a tough fight, going to be hard working. It's going to put, you know, that respect on my name. You know, I'm not cherry picking out here.
Was it strictly to prove yourself more so, or is it something like I see him and I know I can beat him, or was it wanting to prove that you're?
It was wanting to prove to everyone that I belong there, and you know,
you did that. And you did that.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. I want these. Yeah. After I called him out, I heard that, you know, no one's ever called him out, and I was like, you know, I'm not surprised about that. You know, he's a hard fight, and you know, I was kind of shit myself at the back. You know, thinking like, it's going to be a long, grueling night. You know, I was expecting a big, you know, grappling heavy fight, and yeah, I'm just glad it, you know, didn't have to go that way and just get it done nice and early.
That's exactly the mentality you want to see. I really like this guy, man. And stylistically, this will be a fascinating fight. BSD brings the relentless pressure, physicality, and dangerous finishing ability. He's not going to give Salkilld an easy fight at all, which is exactly what Salkilld needs. If he beats BSD, now we're talking about a fighter who has defeated Gamrot and Benoit Saint-Denis. At that point, how can you keep him away from the top of the division? You really can't debate about that. A win over BSD could put Salkilld directly into the championship conversation, and if he keeps developing that pace, I think the UFC is going to have a serious problem on their hands. I mean, lightweight division, because eventually they're going to have to give this guy a title shot. And this is where I think people need to stop calling Salkilld a prospect. He's becoming a contender. There's a difference. A prospect is someone you think could become great. A contender is someone who is already proving he belongs with the best. Salkilld just submitted Mateusz Gamrot in the first round. That's not prospect behavior. That's contender behavior right there. And if he beats another ranked opponent next, suddenly we're talking about someone who might only be 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot. The crazy part is that we're still probably not seeing the final version of Quillan Salkilld. Like I said, he's still gaining experience. He's still figuring out what kind of fighter he ultimately wants to become. And that's why I'm making this prediction now. I absolutely think Quillan Salkilld will eventually become a UFC lightweight champion. I'm not saying he's guaranteed to become champion. I'm not saying there's no way he doesn't. MMA doesn't work that way. One injury, one bad matchup, one mistake, one bad night, everything can change. Look at the situation with Shavkat Rakhmonov. But when I look at the ingredients with Salkilld, 26 years old, 13-1 record, 6-0 in the UFC, 5 UFC finishes, elite grappling, dangerous striking, huge physical potential, a willingness to fight difficult opponents, and now a first-round submission against Mateusz Gamrot, the ingredients are there. And the thing I respect most about Salkilld is that he isn't waiting around for the UFC to hand him easy opportunities. He's asking for the hardest fights. He asked for Gamrot, he beat Gamrot. Now he's asking for BSD. I don't know if he's gonna get that fight. Most likely, I don't see why not. But if he beats BSD, I'm telling you right now, we need to start talking about Quillan Salkilld as a future UFC champion, because this isn't just a prospect anymore at all. This is the beginning of a title run. Let me know what you think in the comments though. Do you think this is a hype train? How far do you think Quillan Salkilld can go in the UFC? I picked him to win, but I did not think this man was gonna win by a submission at all. And if you think he has what it takes to become lightweight champion, make sure you hit this like button. All right, subscribe to the channel if you want more breakdowns like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.